Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pizza Roundtable, part of the Pizza Club Network, where we host some of the biggest pizza personalities in the pizza industry. You're here tonight with us for Pizza Roundtable, where we get to talk about some of the biggest news of the week. I'm here with my co-host, Jim Mumford. Jim is both a cookbook author and a writing contributor for the media publication Inside Hook. Jim, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, bud. Good evening.
Good evening to you as well, my friend. How are you doing?
Good. Socked with snow, but good. Hanging in there. How about yourself? I hear it's your birthday. I'm going to just lead with that. What are we, 28, 29, something like that?
Exactly. Maybe just
So,
plus 10. I'm on that one before the
mm,
40. So getting
well,
there, man. I'm getting
congratulations.
there. Thank you,
I'm
thank you,
sure
thank you.
you're gonna celebrate with some pizza either before
Absolutely.
this, after this.
You know what? I made some pizza with my kids earlier today, so it
Oh,
was perfect
beautiful.
and it worked out. Yes.
Good for you. I'm sure you
um
use my Sicilian recipe. I'm honored.
dude, I am so waiting to do that with my kids, and I keep just delaying. I don't know
You
why. You know
you, you
what?
could have lied to me. I wouldn't have told.
I can't because I'm just not the kind of guy I am, Jim. You know what I was distracted with for 1 second before we get going this week? I was trying those pizza sandwiches over the weekend, and I had some leftover
Oh,
dough. So kind of making like the Neapolitans, folding them over, and then I was stuffing them with mortadella, some fior
oh,
latte, a whole bunch of good stuff,
oh
and I
my.
liked them. I'm down for it. I think they went over well. Have you ever tried these things before? They're cool, dude.
Yeah, it's the papadilla only with real ingredients. I love it. I grew up with these, right? I mean, these were paninis. Before the panini, so I'm here for it. Big fan.
Excellent, dude. I will definitely make them again. And to be fair, you can be a little bit more crude with them, right? I just get to kind
Mm,
of get round-ish and then fold them
yeah,
over. I don't have to worry about making a hole or anything. So I'm
no,
cool, man. I'm liking them.
great for the kids, right?
Absolutely.
Precision goes out the window a little bit.
This is true. That is the saving grace of them. They can be less precise, which works out for me.
Absolutely,
All right, dude. Listen. So I know we got a lot of articles tonight to talk
you
about.
do
So I think let's get into them. This one, I might as well start off. I think with the
the
article of
bang.
the week, and I think our friends here at the Takeout actually covered it, as well as I think every other media
Everybody,
publication
right?
probably in existence. So this one, guys, like I said, this one's from the Takeout covering it. This was celebrities ate pizza in a bag at the Critics' Choice Awards. The A-list attendees were served some odd slices this past weekend. Did you watch the awards, or did you just catch this afterwards?
I mean, I caught this in every news article, everything. Um, Listen, I mean, pizza in a bag is not a new thing, right? You go to, any a good tavern style place in Chicago, right? You get a beef roll in the bag, right? This is not the big story that they want it to be. Um, but
Okay.
but to some, right? I get pizza in a bag; it's gotta be in a box. But I don't know where I come from. Pizza in a bag is probably more mainstream than the box. Plus, it makes a lot more sense, in my opinion.
Now, listen. I've gotten many a slice in a bag, right? Kind of
Mhm.
on a paper plate,
Yeah,
obviously, but these bags were vertical, right?
yeah.
So something about that, just I I mean, it's just one of those things where just like there's like this is like serving something upside down, right? Like you would never do that. Why
Yeah,
why
if a
serve
pizza
them
delivery
this way?
boy canned you the box like this, say no, thank you. So,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
not mine. That's not
yeah.
mine.
On the other hand, right, I don't know, if there's something lost in translation, like the bag and it silly, right? I also saw, some of the toppings. I see gold leaf, which I don't know. I'm not seeing that on my local Domino's menu. Maybe out by you, but I don't see much gold leaf on pizzas. So maybe maybe it's just a different cultural thing, or I don't know, a coastal thing. But I wacky, right?
I mean, this was got funny enough where even I think they showed a lot of outrage videos of the celebs, and they're kind of asking like, "Where's the actual good stuff?" Right? What are we getting? I think Paul Giamatti
Right.
actually mentioned it up on his speech. Or like, did everyone get a pizza in the bag? It was kind of humorous. I'm not gonna lie. I've been looking for where this pizza came from, and I haven't found that. I don't know if you've scoured, and I don't know if it was an in-house catering, right? Because I mean, a lot of these like events, right? You're gonna get someone famous to do something, right? I mean, like you get someone like Wolfgang Puck doing a lot of things, which probably like the Oscars, right? But I think one of the awards shows just had Nobu the other day catering. So I wonder where this pizza came from, and I could not find it. So if anyone else out there knows or heard about it, we need the inside scoop.
Yeah.
Tell us what's up.
Drop it in the chat. My guess is whoever catered it is burying the information because they don't want that kind of
That's a fair point.
They thought they were being revolutionary, right? And pizza in the bag, and right. Well, Chicago then does it, so I don't know, but it's not. They missed the mark and they got roasted for it.
That's fair. So, think about that, Jim. Do you think it? I wonder if there's, I don't want to call this a conspiracy theory here, right? But had it gone the other way, this would have been quite a marketing stunt. If that slice seemed to like be minimalistically good on a scale, this would have been crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I know publicity is bad publicity. I'd love to learn, who did they mean for it different, right? Where this were trying a thing and it didn't work. Said, you idiots, why are you picking up like this? It's not a tote bag, it's pizza. Like, I'd love to hear from the other side. But my guess is the other side is hiding and cowering right now because they got. I mean, literally, you saw it. When we search recipes, 40 different news places picked up this story. I mean, it was everywhere.
It's funny the way you say that, right? It's like I picture someone in the kitchen like screaming, they're like, hands, and everyone's coming to grab it, and it's just the first person just like picks them up the wrong way, and then everyone else is like, oh, all right, like I'll grab them like that too, and then everyone goes out and they're just like, no, like why did this happen?
I'm gonna hope that's what happened. I'm choosing to believe that. And
I think that's the good story. That's the good story to tell about how this casualty came to be. All right. Well, listen. Let's shift and talk about pizza. Maybe on the other side of the scale. Get into a list, right? Now, I know list. we talk about lists all the time. It's one of these items that comes up, right? And it's kind of, hey man, I can make a list, you can make a list. It could be merit list, there could be something behind it, but at least I think some things when we do see a list that at least we often appreciate is the idea that there's some basis for how that list was made, right, opposed to just like, we picked the top 10, right? And you're like, thanks so much. There's no qualifications for that in any sort of way. But this one here, which was covered by, was an interview that PMQ did, and this is with the team at 50 Top Pizza. And they're talking a little bit about how they come to their selection. So this is, I think we're pretty familiar in general with 50 Top Pizza. And just to set expectations for everyone, there's two lists, right? Essentially, there's like the list that specifically covers Italy, and is everyone else, just for reference of how they do it, which is entertaining. I don't know. Did you see the last lists that have come out? Do you follow this one? Do you think, before we get into the details, do you think it's meaningful from a coverage perspective that you're like, hey, I kind of like I'm interested in this one versus maybe a other publication that who knows?
Yeah, I mean, right, PMQ, very reputable, and this is a big deal, right? It's a big deal to a lot of our friends here on the Pizza Club. It's a very prestigious list, and I was very happy to see, and we'll get into it, that there's some rigor put into this, a lot more than I would say most other top 50 lists that most publications put out. So I was very happy to see it, as we dive in, just the rankings and how, again, meticulous they were. And I do love that it's Italy versus the world, which you could make
funny.
It's kind of funny. It really is at this point.
Yeah, go ahead, finish your thought, Jim.
Yeah, it's funny that it is. I mean, you could argue, you could go, Manhattan versus the world and have the same, but I listen, I respect. And how about you? What stood out to you in here? Anything you're like, oh, I didn't think they considered this? Or
that's a fair point. Well, to be honest with you, I actually thought, I appreciate the background to it, that like there's a large team, that's going out. they employ or at least select a number of distinctly different individuals from all different type of backgrounds for the most part to kind of at least get a feel for what pizza could be for that area, right?
Mhm.
Which is cool, right? So instead of just having quote unquote an expert or a number of experts who are maybe experts in things that they eat or have a distinctive style or appreciate maybe just one part of the craftsmanship to pizza, this seems like the idea of like, hey, here, this could be what everyday people like, because we feel like that most might be the most meaningful. And I mean that with a grain of salt to that, but like the idea of like we're trying to incorporate everyone of who could have pizza. So I thought that was a cool idea.
Yeah, I completely agreed. Right, it's what pizza would people actually eat? Right, it's not the bougie gold leaf pizza or the 7 day dough. These are real pizzerias, real people going and checking them out, which is again admirable. Right, it's not just one editor making a list and calling it
Yeah.
top 50.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, let me highlight quickly from it, guys, just in general. The PMQ, this was Rick, I think Rick Hynum, who did the article with Albert Sapiri from 50 Top Pizza, and kind of I'll kind of paraphrase and jump in quickly around some of the area. But the question was posed to them: can you give us an idea of how the process of creating your list for 50 best pizzas works? And Sapiri kind of articulates it here, being with a very simple and direct system. We first carry out a large survey, which is organized by geographical area and specific case of the U.S. After this survey, they proceed with anonymous visits by simple paying customers. For the U.S. guide, all of the inspectors are based in the USA, and there are very different nationalities and have different perspectives. We did this in order to better represent the pizza world that operates under the banner of the Stars and Stripes. But yeah, like we said, though, right? They're trying to get a distinctive perspective of it, right? So like, I think that's cool. I can appreciate there's context around that, and kind of highlight too as well. It's not just the pizza, right? And they do note that they also critique available beverages, wine, beer, etc. The service and the hospitality, which is in the modern pizza world, makes the difference. So
Big deal.
I thought that was a really cool part that they highlight, that it's not distinctly just simply your pizza, it's the whole shebang, right? It's how you operate, what you're putting into the etherverse as your pizzeria, not just the simple product, right? But the hospitality and service are important, right, man? That's what brings you back to places,
And
as
that's
well as the
exactly
food. But
right. They talk about the hospitality, they talk about the place, the pizzeria, the vibe, which again is really important. So I thought this was cool, very cool list.
I will note, right, though, that just the highlights here does say in this, in terms of consumption of pizza, the U.S., it is the largest and most important market in the world. I didn't think we'd ever hear that, but it is the case, guys. The U.S. is the most important pizza market in the world.
I can't disagree. Probably is. I mean, I'll check out Statista and see what kind of lists they're at. But it's good. It was good, very well written article, and hats off to PMQ for giving us an avenue behind the curtain a little bit, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you there. All right, cool. Well, listen, let's shift to another one of our favorite pizza publications in general. This one out of Pizza Today, and then this is actually from a member of the Pizza Club here. This is from an interview here with Sirhan Ayan, and Sirhan is he has a pizza company, Next Level Pizza. I think he kind of focuses on doing pop ups and consulting. I follow him on Instagram. He makes a number of like beautiful pies, and they're pretty distinct, right? They're different. They're awesome. They're really creative, visual. He's really artistic with his pies, which is really cool. And so this article kind of highlights that. And I think, Jim, you'll appreciate this one from that perspective of that. The article itself is about unconventional pizza toppings and essentially kind of where to draw some inspiration around that. So as before I get into it and kick it off, I mean, Jim, in general, man, your thoughts on unconventional pizza toppings at large, right? I mean, I know you're not a traditionalist or purist, but give me your thoughts around them.
I love it, right? I mean, I think there's a difference between stunt food, right, and marketing ploys, and this, right? This is art. These are really good pies, well crafted, well, thought out. So I'm all for it, so long as it's not pickles or that cheeseburger pizza we did a couple of weeks ago that had all the mustards and these are well crafted, and I'm here for it. And I love seeing some of the combinations they talked about here.
Yeah, listen, I would have eaten the cheeseburger pie if it was out of the prison one, if they were making the cheeseburger pies from the prison that was making pizzas, definitely would have tried it. Um, but first here, all right. So in general, like Saran takes us through a couple different sections of it in general here. So first, he said, bet the farm. One place where I frequently discover new ingredients is at a locals farmers market. I know this seems, to be honest, I know this seems cliche if you just look at it at surface level. But to be honest, like this is probably one of the coolest places to find inspirational ingredients. I actually just recently found a pretty cool farmers market in Charlotte,
Oh,
near uptown, but actually just near the airport. And it's cool, man. I just love perusing and seeing like what's the fresh produce that everyone has, and I it's cool. There's some things I haven't seen, or talking to people, and like, hey, how do you use this? I'm not familiar with this being down here. What do you do with it? It's cool. Can you draw some inspiration from that? What do you think?
yeah, I think it speaks to just the heart of pizza, right? Pizza is such an artisan food, right? It comes from the ground, the garden, the hands. So going to a farmer's market and say, here's what's fresh, here's what I've created, and it speaks to the vibe of pizza, right? And I love it, and I love just like you say, bang the farm celery root on pizza. Never would have thought of it.
Yeah.
Makes absolute perfect sense. All right, it's in season. You pair it with something nutty, and sounds fantastic. So I mean, this is where you draw inspiration from the earth, right? From what's around you, and farm to table's thrown around way too much, but I feel like pizza kind of is the OG farm to table. So
Yeah.
I love it, and I think I might actually try this one with the pancetta. It sounds like a perfect match.
I agree, dude. It looked great. I
Yeah.
mean, listen, if you don't want to be, if the farmers market might not be your first stop, Sirhan National notes kind of walk down memory lane, like
Hmm?
draw a little bit from your childhood, right? So he has a pie here, a Hawaiian kind of inspired pie, for the most part, right? Take your snack food and kind of revisit that. The Hawaiian, he kind of notes the Hawaiian pie's kind of origins here, and kind of put a little bit of a mix on it, right? In
Hmm?
general, with like a Chex Mix to it. Like this is just so
It's wild.
cool, man.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. The Hawaiian pie, which was first from Canada, by the way. Yeah, I like it,
Yeah.
right? It's, there's, like I said, there's stunt food and there's inspiration. And I think draw the inspiration from what's around you, and have fun with it, right? That's the whole thing, is don't take it too seriously and have some fun, which we're doing here.
And I think so. I'll highlight just the last one from him too, as well. You know, it's kind of here, tap into your collective consciousness. This was kind of cool, right? Where he kind of highlights, I think it was a Claire Sippets, who did a blood orange oil cake, and then Chris Bianco, right, who's famous for making pizzas. Everyone's going to know as well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But two distinctly different mediums, right, of food, and drew inspiration to make his own dish. And this one I can kind of tap into myself the most. I'm a very visual person, right? So I love seeing something, just creative colors, and being like, oh, let me make something different or put a twist on that. And that's kind of the theme for this one, which is cool. What about you? Are you Jim? Are you normally like flavor driven when you put things together, or do you see something they're like, hey, that's going to be cool? You know what I mean? Do you eat it? Do you eat it? Take it away and think about it, and like, can I remix that, or do you see something or like, I got to try that and make my own?
I'm a flavor guy first. And maybe that's a little atypical, but I'm flavor, and then plating's not my thing. I'm not artistic in that way. But when I see that tangerine pizza and just how well thought out that was, I go, wow, right? That's not something that I would have thought to do. That's art, and that's the cool part. That's what you're trying to do. So, and kind of made me think, all right, how can I plate things? How can I, have my Sicilians? How can I bring out the colors and do some fun things? So, right, it's one of the few articles in recent memory that made me kind of think, here's how I do things. Maybe I could do it different. So I thought this was cool. What a contrast from the pizza in the bag article, but really, again, cool to think about how food is and how it kind of relates to the world around you and the food around you. So I
Yeah.
thought this was cool. This one's bookmarked for the reread and the highlight and the kind of fine tooth comb personally.
I'm with you, man. That was awesome. Good. Shout out to you, Sirhan. That was great, man. Good article.
Awesome,
And
well done,
got
bud.
Sirhan was actually on just a
Mhm.
week or so ago, and he was making pizza live. And I believe Rob from Taglio Pizza in Long Island was commenting on it. So go back, check that one out. There's a video on it. You probably had some pretty good pies there to check out. So
Pretty cool.
take a look. All right, let's keep on going. Another back to PMQ, man. I think we're gonna highlight a bit of a regional style that I think, Jim, I'm interested if you've ever tried. So
Oh,
this
we
one,
both know I have, but
this one is titled "Arrival to New Haven Style Appease Packs a Peppery Punch." So this rival to the New Haven style appease packs a peppery punch. Colony Grill's signature oil is a must for maximum enjoyment of the Connecticut's brand's cracker thin crust pie. So Jim, any familiarity with this?
yeah, I had the pleasure of going to Colony Grill a bit ago. It's really cool, right? Because it's a bar pie cooked like in a beats. And
Yep.
it has the flavor of kind of a New England Greek pizza. If anyone's had that with like that kind of distinct, I call it oiliness, but in the best way. It's a really unique pizza, right? And then with the heat on it, don't know I call it a regional style necessarily because it's not prevalent outside of one chain, but I've had it. It's really good. I tried to create it at home, failed, because it's very tricky, right? Because it's kind of the best parts of all these styles, and it's kind of their recipe is dialed in clearly, right? They've been doing it for decades. So very familiar. How about you? I'm sure you've had Colony Grill.
I have. I've tried it. I mean, the oil honestly is delicious. I'm down for some spice, and it definitely brings it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the cracker it thin is not my ultimate favorite, but I the way this cheese melts and the thinness to it, I totally appreciate this pie, and I would eat multiple in a row. That's for darn sure. I actually didn't know that the owners were of Irish American descent. So I
Cool.
do feel that I'm now allowed to continue making pizzas as I share a similar background here and don't need to be on the outside. If they can achieve, we all can is how I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I would have guessed right. They would have been Greek, right? It feels like that. So Irish,
Yep.
this is cool, right? What a cool story to celebrate. Not only a style but a family. I mean, that's really what we're doing here.
Yeah, and I'll note. I mean, just if anyone's not familiar, check them out on the list, guys. Colony Grill. I think they kind of highlighted too in the article here that Daily Meal ranked them in 2018, number 26 on the 101 best pizzas in America. So I mean, they are known, and then they're expanding. I think they have 7, 8 locations now, and they're growing out of their original Stamford, Connecticut location for sure.
Pretty cool.
All right. Yeah, man, definitely. All right. So another as we think a little bit more around expansion,
Mm-hmm.
we'll talk about our final article here from PNQ. This one is it's a legacy pizza brand takes convenience to new highs with a new store model. So this is Mr. Gaddy's Pizza. Now I'm not too familiar particularly with their offering, but I think they're Texas based and they've got 140 plus, looks more like full service kind of restaurants that are there. But the idea here is that they're expanding these and are looking to introduce a convenience store plus pizza. So think something like a Casey's, Wawa, or Hunt's Brothers kind of expansion. So I mean, with 140 kind of stores that you have in your portfolio already, and you're going to start expanding, I mean, it's a good start. You've definitely got some clout behind you there. But the reason I highlighted is we've been talking a lot about
A lot.
convenience store, C store type pizza, right? Casey's, I feel like it comes out of my mouth every single time we're
Every time.
on. And so does Wawa, right, or some other variant of it, as we're comparing them. And so just to see these people kind of increasing the idea that it's catching on, I wonder what this is going to look like. Do you ever think to stop like C store pizza, Jim, in general? Like if you're seeing on the road, is it one of the stops you're looking for as opposed to like an alternative? I guess I'm saying, do you think of it as like travel destination, like convenient to have, or are you seeking it
Yeah.
out in your daily life to be like, you know what, I'll check that out?
I'm not seeking it out. And it's again, it's truly convenience. It's a point of sale thing. But kind of thinking back, why are Casey's and Hunt's Brothers successful? It's because in a lot of small towns, this is the food, right? This is kind of the thing within 15 minutes. So I'm not surprised that in Texas, again, a very large area where you drive a lot. There's some areas of not so much why these can be very popular and why there might be an untapped market, right? I mean, clearly Casey's and Hunt's Brothers have shown us that there's something here, and people are smart and they're saying, all right, let's get it, right. And pizza's kind of that perfect food, right? It's well loved. It's something that can be heated very quickly. So I think this is going to be a thing, Will. I think we're going to keep seeing it. And again, I don't think it's a destination for you and I think it's more of how can we get food out to literally everyone in the U.S.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fair point. I think we've heard a lot of if you're ears to the ground of the food world in general, we've heard a lot about kind of being like the last mile, right, for delivery of
Yeah,
everything. And so the idea of these convenience stores being, the drivers of pizza delivery or pizza to others, I'm sure it'll continue expanding with other foods too, right? And that same idea. So
yeah. So
interested to follow.
interesting to follow. I am though, curious about quality, right? Because at a certain point, quality
Yeah.
will always win out. I do believe that in something like pizza. So this is going to be an ebb and flow, but I think it's a good one. I think this is one we're going to talk about for a long, long time.
Yeah, it's like on the verge of what I think we've heard. I don't want to say like drop from
Hmm?
the like current like Rolodex of items all the time, which was like robots, right? And we were
Yep,
all talking last
all in.
year, the year before, constantly robotic automation in pizza. Who's making the next vending machine? Who is making the next like mini production line facility? And
Hmm?
there's definitely some people that are really doing it. And by no means is it falling, but it's I've heard less about it. But I wonder if as we continue expanding in these C-store spaces, if we see automation come in, take over, right, in the same kind of way,
Yeah.
and what will that quality turn into, right? The epic battle of the Bizzola versus the robot, right? In general, that's there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great point, right? Where does automation and science come in? And it's fun. Speaking of, I do have bad news. I did not get the job from Casey's. I'm not going to be their beer and pizza ambassador. So, but I know, I'm sorry. I was really looking forward to that. But hey, any other company, C store company wants to consult me, I am very cheap.
Is beer as a minimum as
Uh,
that from a requirement for compensation?
it's beer and pizza, not pizza and beer. Okay.
I'll forward anyone that reaches out
I
to you. Don't
appreciate you.
worry about it,
Appreciate you,
buddy.
bud.
All right, we'll turn serious for just a moment. And this one out of the Daily Signal. We won't dive into it too much, but it's just one that I want to highlight. So out of the changing landscape where we think about minimum wage, and this one was 1,200 Pizza Hut drivers among first victims of California's $20 minimum wage
Yeah.
folly. So this one's a difficult one in general, and I think we've heard a lot in general about people understanding the business owners in California and understanding how minimum wage or these restaurant kind of rules and legislative items are going to really impact what that looks like for the workforce in general. Awesome to earn $20 minimum wage, but tough to earn that if you don't have a job, right? In
Yeah.
that same respect. So
Uh, yeah,
this,
it's tough, right? And as pizzerias we talk about here with a lot of our friends, right? Do you third party out your delivery? Do you have it yourself? The pros and the cons, and then you see something like this where the math doesn't work to Pizza Hut. It's not in their interest, and we can debate that, but it's tough, right? I mean, pizza delivery was kind of the first delivery and broke in, and now I feel like it's becoming almost a victim to all the other delivery options. So, lot of socioeconomic factors here. Um, but
yep.
but you look at Domino's, who's partying with the third party, and say, okay, we're going to do some other things and try to lower our costs to maybe pay it forward. And apparently, Pizza Hut just didn't feel that way.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think we'll see more headlines come out as it goes all across the food industry, not just pizza as well. So it's definitely a
Yeah,
story to follow what the impacts are going to be there.
absolutely.
All right, so let's shift then to this story. It was out of the kitchen, and I find this one interesting only because it's like when you get pizza esque things from like the supermarket in general, right? There's always interesting parts to it, right? There's pizza sauce, right? And then there's also this idea of a pizza crust mix. And
Yeah,
I know for those that have made pizza, which is a lot of people, right,
yeah,
for the most part, there's minimal ingredients that go into that, and you can really get a pretty quality product. You start with good quality items coming into it, but there's not a huge array, right, to create this. We're not creating like I don't know. I'm trying to give a good comparison of something with 1,000 different ingredients in it, right? But like in general, this is not pizza dough.
Yeah,
So I'm interested in the $1 grocery the $1 grocery you should always have in your pantry. It regularly saves dinner in my home. This one is a Jiffy pizza box crust mix. So, Jim,
yeah,
I'm first from. Are you familiar with this product at all?
I am. So Jiffy's a Michigan brand, right? Something
Yeah.
very prevalent here. I am familiar. I have used this. It makes great
Okay.
things. I have used this. It does not make very good pizza.
Okay.
It is a very good, quick dough, right, for a flatbread. For kind of
Okay.
the pizza sandwiches we were talking about, this is it, right?
Yep.
It is, I don't know what to put. It's got, that Jiffy shortening in it, right? It's got the
Mhm.
flour. It's biscuit mix. I mean, that's really
Okay.
what this is. It's biscuit mix without the amount of leavening. Um, so I have used it. There's probably some in my house. It makes terrible pizza, but it does make some pretty cool. If you want to do pigs in a blanket, if you want to do some turnovers or something like that, this is a cool
Yeah.
thing, especially with kids. So I'm not gonna completely hate on it, but like you said, you're not trying to replace something like frosting or shortening or box cake mix, which
Yeah.
are easy themselves. I mean, pizza has 4 ingredients, 5, right? I don't.
Yeah.
Are they just selling us the flour?
That's the thing. That's what to me. That's what gets it. Like
Yeah.
and I think about it also from, and I want to highlight the Jiffy pizza mix box looks distinctly similar to the Jiffy pie crust mix
Mhm.
box. Right? I mean, it's literally you could grab the wrong one. You're making a different kind of pie, but is there seasoning to it? I'm wondering kind of what makes it unique. Is the idea behind it just that like, hey, it's pre-measured, I can just add water, like that's totally great, or is there like spice like to it to make it pizza-esque, and do we need spice ever in like our dough recipes for pizza off of that, just to pivot and think about it?
A lot to unpack there. So no, it's basically just a flour,
Okay.
some salt, a little bit of leavening, and the shortening. Right, that's all it is. I would be willing to bet the pizza crust mix and the pie crust mix are
Hmm.
probably identical. I mean, truly, and I don't mean
Okay.
that in a bad way. I bet they're very similar.
Yeah.
Um, Now, we talk about seasoning. I'm totally anti-seasoning in my pizza dough. I feel like it burns, it gets lost at the end. I think that's a whole other night that we could get into. But like I said, I don't hate on Jiffy mixes. I like them a lot for
Yeah.
the convenience and the way they treat the shortening right and they make it granular. That's pretty cool. It has a
Hmm.
lot of advantages, but yeah, never use that for pizza. Please go your local pizzeria, buy some dough if you're really short on time.
Fair. Also a great alternative. I just wanted to quickly show that the outcome here. It doesn't look bad from a high, like for perspective, for a homemade pie that someone put together. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah,
But
it's good.
again,
Listen,
I haven't picked it up. I haven't lifted it. I don't know, but I just visually was like, yeah, I did an okay job for it.
I don't want to poo poo someone making their own food and trying, right. If this is
Of
you don't
course.
feel comfortable with the yeast dough and you want to start here, great, good for you. Absolutely go for it. But this is a stepping stone towards pizza greatness. This is not the destination.
Agreed. Good point. Good point. Right. Maybe a good entry into it if like, hey, I want to get my hands wet, literally, right, and
Literally,
give it a try. Give it a try.
I'm going to
Um,
send you a couple boxes. I want you to make some pizzas for next week, and you report back.
I'm gonna go to my local supermarket and pull both boxes, the pie box and this one, and look
I
at the
bet they're the
ingredients on
same.
back, and I'm gonna take them and I'm gonna tag you in it and see what we think. See what they'll look
Send me a
like.
picture with all the nutrition. I would bet your next paycheck that they are the same thing.
You're lucky the show doesn't really fulfill my pay needs. All right. Well, listen. Speaking of pay, someone's paying a lot to
Uh,
help out in the pizza world, and so this one is out of the New York Post here. And if you guys are familiar with pizzeria, which you should be, which I
should be.
personally, to be honest, do not think it's getting enough hype that even though it is in the media a lot, it needs more. This is the owner of Fini, Fini Pizza, which is out of New York, which is awesome. I love this little crown logo. But Brooklyn pizza owner spent $60K of his own money to pick up street trash after city failed to. So right here, this is Sean Feeney, a finance veteran turned owner of Brooklyn's Fini Pizza, spent 60,000 on setting up like garbage cans, having collecting pickup like an every other day basis. He essentially laid these out all over like his neighborhood in front of the pizzeria and in front of like other businesses nearby. His team services the pizza in general. I mean, services the the cans in general just to keep the area clean, and it's just awesome, man. It's a good story to hear, and it's sad to see that he had to do that, but it's awesome like cleaning up the community around there. Like really cool, man. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely well put. Sad that he had to do it, but it just speaks, right? Pizza is such just a communal thing. It always has been. And, kudos to him for saying, this is my community. These are my people. I live here. My customers, walk these streets. So good on him. Now, if I'm, the politician in charge of that particular block, I should be a little embarrassed, right?
Yep, yep,
And
yep.
I hope they are, and this gives some light into maybe making it a little bit better. But again, right, it's all about serving community. Like I said, the pizza is just a communal thing, and kudos to him. And I hope everyone goes and buys an extra slice next time they're in the neighborhood, or even if they're not.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So you just for reference to background, he was part of that like a restaurant group there that if you're familiar with her, Missy Robbins was part of, and she's got Misty Pasta and Lilia in Brooklyn. She's a great Italian known chef. I think she used to work for like Andrew at Avose for a while, Andrew Camelli for a long time, but really cool stuff that she makes part of that group. And he kind of came from that and did a pizza and did his own shop. And I will tell you, this slice is what you need to get. If you guys have not had this, this is like a tomato slice with these like toasted garlicky breadcrumbs on top. Like I'm telling you, this is like one of the slices that changed my life. It's so good, dude. I love
So
it.
talk to
So
me. Is
shout out to them,
this
dude.
looks like a tomato pie with the
Yeah.
garlicky breadcrumbs? Is that? I mean,
Yeah.
so you've been there. I
Yep.
mean,
That's it.
this looks flawless, right? The crust,
It's
I'll
amazing.
dive into this. I love it, right? Because it also doesn't like there's any cheese, which again is
No.
such a hard thing to nail, right? So
Agreed.
kudos to
I don't
him
remember
being
if they put pecorino or parmesan in the breadcrumbs at all, but like that would be it. I don't remember if it was just garlic or not, but like the
X.
breadcrumbs, dude, they're so good.
That pizza is so hard to cook like that to get the char and
Yes.
that is impressive. So
No, dude, it's
good
amazing.
person, good pizza maker, great pizza maker.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Well, speaking of good people, we'll shift to one that might be debatable depending upon where you sit on the side of the aisle. This one, highlighting this one, who caused this? This was KCCI who was covering it out of Des Moines. This is from the Iowa caucuses where Trump stays after stop and hands out Casey's Pizza to a crowd there. So I unconcerned
Of
of what
course,
anyone's
Casey's comes up.
opinion here is it. I only mention it because Casey's was the pizza of choice to hand out afterwards.
What I'm surprised is it's not Quad Cities, right? It's not one of the Iowa has a style of pizza. Why are you going to the Casey's?
Distinctly,
And we can
yeah.
again talk about the socioeconomic about Casey's, and we can get into that. But I mean, give me some malt laden dough here with some red pepper flake. Don't give me Casey's breakfast pizza. So again, I don't want to get into politics, but I think a missed opportunity to connect with community. That's me.
I couldn't side with you more on that one, right? Get somebody local. Agreed there in that
Yeah,
one. Well,
Casey's.
I know, man. Like I said, literally, we can't go show without talking
You
about them. And
can't.
boom, there they
It's
are.
in our
There they are again.
contract. So
Um,
Helen's
yeah,
asking
yeah, yeah.
what's the drama with Casey's Pizza. The fact is, it's have you had Casey's, Will?
No, not yet. Wawa,
It
yes, not Casey's.
it's one step above bad frozen pizza, but it's not the good frozen pizza. Right? It's here that it's not a quality. It's not frozen dough, and it's
Mm-hmm.
better than frozen pizza, but it's a convenience store pizza, right? Don't so, I don't know. Again, if you're gonna serve something that was made by a local business owner there. Connect with your community. Don't get something that was probably microwaved at one point.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's me.
And to be fair,
Sorry, cases, but
that's all right, man.
I'm so bitter over the pizza and beer thing.
I can't hate because I haven't had it, but to be fair, I would try it. I just haven't seen a Casey's near me on a road trip yet to try it. So
when you come visit me this summer, I'm sure you'll pass about 100, and you
I'll
can
try
let
them
me know what
all.
you think.
I'll try them all.
Every
Grab a
single
slice
one.
from each. Well, listen. Let's speaking about pizza controversies, or I don't know, pizza. I don't even know what we call this. I'm trying to think of a good title as I pull this one up. I don't have one, but this one was out of France 24. This is actually a bit of a throwback.
Throwback.
So there's a new update, but I want to highlight the story just in case anyone is familiar with it or heard about it first in the past. So this was called French Court Annuls Extradition of Italian Mafia Hitman turned Pizza Chef. So apparently this was I think the article caught coverage a year or two ago for the most part, but France's top court on Tuesday annulled the lower court's decision to extradite Eduardo Greco, a convicted mafia killer turned pizza chef who has been on the run since 2006 back to Italy. Essentially, he was part of the I think a Calabrian crime family and had been convicted of I think it was murder or assault, beating of two rivals back in Calabria at a crowbar at a Calabrian fishmonger in 1991. Anyway, he fled to France and became changed his name, became beyond popular making pizza. In general, and then this picture, it kind of grew, his head grew, right? He was like, fuck it, I'm going to be in the public media publications, I'll be back in the news. Here he is in this photo, and this is what caught Italian authorities' attention. They recognized it and they tied it back to who he was. He was arrested, and they're trying to extradite him for a while. So wild story in general.
I mean, first off, the best headline I've ever read in my life. Right. I mean, they had twists and turns. I cannot wait for the motion picture on this. It's just wild, right? I mean, what an absolutely just bonkers story that I'm happy we could talk about. I have nothing else to add other than, as someone who writes articles, I hope that my headlines are this good every single time.
I mean, there's not much more to say, but it's wild, dude. Like, you flee Italy and become a famous pizza maker in France, and then get caught because you don't stay under the radar anymore.
Classic, just classic.
All right, we got a couple more. Let's go through them quickly, man. All right, this next one up. Pepperoni pizza dip. I'm highlighting it for the sheer simplicity that it is, Jim. I know I would try it. I'm sure you would try it. The ingredients are quite simple. I'll ask, I don't know if traditionally 8 ounces of softened cream cheese and half a cup of sour cream to say scream pizza to me. But yeah.
Yeah.
Is
listen, I don't know, man. I make a pizza dip. I make a version of this, right? I'm a good Midwestern boy.
Yep.
I don't hate on the idea. I hate on the ratios. I think that it's just so much sour cream. If you think about how much a half a cup of sour cream is over everything else, I think you have a ratio problem. I think you're close. Also, we're dividing the grated Parmesan cheese twice, which is hard to do. Sorry, as a recipe writer, I have little pet peeves.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
I didn't notice that.
So I think we're on to something here. I'll try it. Just I think your ratios are off, and no one is measuring out an eighth of a teaspoon of anything. So I don't know. I'm just gonna reserve my judgment for whoever makes it. If you like it, you like it. To me, I'm just gonna keep dividing my Parmesan cheese and keep to myself.
That's fair. I mean, dear God, I would not want to go all the way up to a quarter teaspoon of dried oregano and just really throw this sucker out of whack.
It's all out of proportion. That extra eighth of a teaspoon is just it's the whole thing that ties this thing together. Never mind the pound of cream cheese you threw into it.
Can you have a dip? Considering your Midwestern background, do dips exist without cream cheese or sour cream? Is it just an
Or mayonnaise, right? It's
absolute?
the holy trinity of white globby fatty foods. You have to have at least two. If you're good, you can get all three. Just make sure you have bagged shredded cheese on top. That's kind of canon, really, mostly. If you can put some tater tots into it too, you get bonus
Oh,
points for that. But
oh, that would be great. I'd be down for that, man. All right, let's see one more. This one,
it's a
only
good
because
one to end on.
we were talking about him last time. This one's out of oh, sorry guys, not last that last one was Fox 11 Online. This one is from New Jersey 101.5. And this one features, I think, I don't know. I want to say our favorite, but that's not the case. In terms of the celeb, in terms of the pizzeria, these guys from Caniglio's are awesome. I would put them
Absolutely.
up there in a high scale for absolutely sure. But this one here is Tommy DeVito versus Eli Manning throwing dough at New Jersey Pizzeria. If you guys remember, from a couple of weeks ago, there was an article came up that when Tommy DeVito kind of caught fire quickly there with the New York Giants. For reference, guys, he was a quarterback playing while whatever his name is was hurt. Who I'm
Daniel
unconcerned
Jones.
with anymore. Yeah, I know. Was injured, and Tommy stepped in and played, and he's got this whole Italian flair going for him. And everyone's kind of picked him up and is enjoying his time there. But he was going to go to Caniglio's. His agent is even more outlandish than he was, and jacked up a public speaking fee from like 10 grand to 20 grand or something to visit the pizzeria. Tommy seems cool, man. Ended up going and actually going to the pizzeria out of the goodness of his heart and didn't get paid for it. It was our understanding and kind of made it right. And now he's back here tossing dough, of which the Caniglio's team was asked who threw dough better. And they said, we're sorry to say, Tommy did it better than Eli. I think that's the only time Tommy's ever going to hear that in his life. But Jim, I put it to you, man. What do you think about this one?
I mean, it's fun, right? I mean, celebrating the community, like, community based. And Eli Manning, I don't know much about, but I'm sure he's a nice guy. I can tell you Tommy DeVito slings a better pie than Eli Manning, someone who grew up in the bayou rather than someone who grew up in the greater New York, New Jersey area. So I love it, right? Great for charity. It raised I think over 10 grand. Which is amazing,
for
right?
battered women and homeless veterans through the Knights of Columbus, 539.
It's a win. It's a win all around. And listen, Tommy DeVito can say he's, like you said, better than Eli at something, since he's certainly not going to win any Super Bowls.
Fair point, man. Fair point. I like it. It was a good article. Good for the guys at Caniglio's to get him back.
Absolutely.
And good fundraiser. That's awesome. Must have been a fun time. I would have been happy
I
to
would have loved to be there.
I feel like, man, celebrity pizza making things like, let's compare for 1 second. Let's talk about like daytime appearances versus like in-restaurant appearances. I think these in-restaurant appearances are just really cool, man, where you get someone to actually like engage and do it there. Not that I don't appreciate someone being on like Good Morning America or something. Yeah. I know a number of people in the community have like gotten the opportunity to be on like shows, and that's awesome. Like they're great to get on, but like when you're in like a restaurant kind of doing it like this, like that just must be so cool. Both for them and for you, right?
Yeah, you could say I've been there, right? Oh, I know that place, and it's just there's just something about it. Again, that just comes with the hominess of the whole environment. So I completely agree with you. I think they're just fun. They're fun.
Yeah, I dig it, man. All right, man. Well, listen, as always, thanks so much for coming on. We hit on a lot of items today. We're all over the news.
All over the place.
What came up this week? So, Jim, in general, man, thanks again for coming on. Where can everyone find you across the social media landscape, my friend?
You type in Jim Cooks Food Good wherever you consume your social media, and you will find me, my face, and my recipes.
I love it, man. They can also check you out, right? I think you've recently had another article up on the Inside Hook as well, right? Not pizza related, but
all the time. Yeah, I do write for Inside Hook. I write about pizza. I write about food. I write about the various topics, ranging from Dingus Day to why New York water is actually better for pizza, which I think was my first article. First time we talked.
What is that? Well, that's how we found you, man. So if anyone's interested, go check that out. Does the water really matter? Check it out and find Jim there. All right, man. Well, listen, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in and hanging with us tonight. Please, if you can, like and subscribe. Follow us here at I Need Pizza Club. We've got a number of different shows that come on that you guys can check out. So we really appreciate your support. And on that note, guys, everyone, come back and check us next week for another episode. Thanks, all.
Cute.